Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon and today I'm bringing out a setup, play and review for the card game Marvel Champions, and in particular the Vision expansion. Yes, we're talking about Vision, and there he is right down the bottom of the box. Yes, as you can see I am quite zoomed in, and that's because I'm deliberately focusing on just this core deck with Marvel Champions Hero Pack, the card game. Vision, and yeah, it's all a bit of a mouthful, so like I said, just from Vision from now on, not the Vision. What we're dealing with here is we're talking about that deck. I have shown you a prior video, which is an unboxing video about all the cards, and now I'm telling you about my review. I've recently just played another game of this. I've played it with Ant-Man. I've played my first ever two-player game of Marvel Champions, the card game, with Vision. And I also happen to be wanting to show you, obviously, the image that you get, your little poster that you can have here too. And when you turn it over, there's some information we can talk about in a moment. So if you haven't already checked out those other videos, please check out that playlist. I do have some information there whereby you can see in that playlist Marvel. Anything to do with Marvel is in there, and there's more and more stuff coming. Aside from that, anything else to do with cooperative games is in there too, solo games, playthrough lists as well as family weight games, which I regard this as well as AmassGames, how to set up, play and review, numerous playlists you can find relating to anything to do with this game and many others. Over 800 games approximately have already been recorded and are already on the channel. Please hit that like button and do share and subscribe. And of course, add your comments, and via the description, you can follow over 2,200 photographs over on Instagram and support the channel via Patreon. So we have Vision here. Here we have him as his hero form. Here we have him as his android form, of course, as an alter ego. Now, the special thing about Vision, the kind of unique thing here, is you can have his different form states. You can have him intangible, you can have him dense. In this form, his mass form, he can be permanently like this. And whilst in hero form, he'll get +2 attack and +2 defend. Why is that important? Well, when he does switch to his hero form, you can see his attack and defense is actually non-existent, quite frankly, which is very interesting and relevant. And of course, when you do switch over, you are suddenly able to actually absorb, literally absorb 2 more of those damages as well. So that's what we're talking about, your core cards that you're dealing with here. We happen to play, like I said, with Ant-Man against Crossbones from the Red Skull expansion. Very close game, lots of peril. We managed to just about win it, but it was extremely close. So let's talk about some of these cards. I've kept all cards pretty much shuffled up, just so we can go straight into it. Ally. So right now, Victor Mancha was used in my last game. Very handy when you actually can absorb some damage on behalf, of course, of Vision and any other ally you may well have, and anyone else potentially as well. Also, a nice finishing move. I used this at the very end, Solar Beam. You can do an extra damage. So 7 damage to an enemy. Fantastic. Only a cost of 3. I think that's obviously a powerful card. Aside from that, I had Vivian. I used her quite a few times. Yes, obviously she doesn't last too long, but what I was choosing to do is just twist some other cards and exhaust them to keep her alive. And even when she goes into discard, there are other ways of getting her back, because I also used my support. I used 616 Hickory Branch Lane. In the alter ego form, remember, have to be in that form. You can exhaust it to obviously discard the pile from it or look from it. Get an Android ally. Well, there it is, Android Champion ally. And of course, add it to your hand. So I was using that. Other allies you could have, well, we have Machine Man, which I didn't touch on using too much. Of course, there's another solar beam as well. More solar beams, really fantastic. And there's something I need to tell you about. So when you go through these cards, just tell you, we do have obviously the Vision deck. We have the creator of Vision here. We have Ultron. So that, of course, is going to be obviously your Nemesis set. And I won't be talking about this one particularly in this video, I do apologise, but I will be doing is a solo playthrough, so please let me know your thoughts on that one. But we do have other cards. These cards are not going to be in your deck. When you get your Vision deck, please do ensure you switch it over, then you stop. You're taking out these cards, you're taking out Aggression, Leadership, basically any of the yellow, blue or red cards, and they are going to be removed. So put them there, do it on top, and just stick them back in the box. Now, back to these cards. So we have got Protector. So this is where you can prevent from damage. You've got your classic basic cards here. I won't talk about any of those. And yes, when taking any damage, of course, can do this. You can choose to play this card, costing you 1, as you can see. If you pay for this card and using obviously a special resource, energy, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Super Dense Strike, of course, you need to be in dense mass form here, so there's an extra card to be aware of. Deal 5 damage to an enemy, it gains piercing. So there's a few interesting things to go on there. just passing through. Quite a fun card, this one. So moving 3 threat from a scheme, really important, and I think that makes very thematic sense as he's passing through. And I also use density control. After you change, you can discard it to add a vision event for your discard part of your hand. Nice cycling card there. A nice way to mill through certain things. And therefore as well, with Get Behind Me, when a treachery card is revealed from the account's deck, it's when it's revealed effects, the villain attacks you instead. And just remember, you can check obviously that it is vision we're talking about here, little kind of rhombus-like effect, that ruboid. So obviously more basic cards here, get those out of the way. And we have the sidestep, so defense, when you take any amount of damage, you can of course prevent it. The energy card, as I mentioned. You can discard it and chose not to use this ability this turn. You can ready your hero. Solar Gem against the aerial trait. Didn't end up using that one in the last game either. And Defiance, when you take a boost on a boost card on an enemy attacking you, you can be faced up, you can discard it instead. Pretty handy at times. It's one of those situational cards I find. Now, Jocasta was my first ally I brought out in the last game. Quite effective. Nice way of doing some damage, especially, of course, when you have Vision in his in dense form. So let's switch back to dense, obviously way more preferable to myself. And we've pretty much gone through them all. Flow like water. After you play a defense card, do 1 damage to an enemy. So we've pretty much gone through them all. Just to let you know that some people found some of these basic cards were a bit repetitive, but the same. My rating for this particular game, I find because he comes with protection of course, there's much more defense style of card compared to those other aspects, and that's absolutely fine. He did do the winning move, he did do some damage. It's just how you want to play it. We chose to pretty much always ignore all of the thwarting that we're going to do, left all those side quests that we had to deal with, all of those schemes, and instead be purely focused on just trying to bosh down Crossbones, which we did. But I felt the fact that at least with with protection, and of course if you watch my solo playthroughs, I do sometimes play with some of those heroes with different aspects. I give this rating for this 7.8, which is slightly lower than some of those other games I've played, some of the other heroes, but it's obviously adding new stuff that you might not have played with before, different ways of playing, a new character to discover, a new way of actually trying to beat those enemies. And it's definitely something you want to check out. What are your thoughts on Vision? Generally, people seem to pretty much like it. Obviously, it's very interesting to play with the fact that attack on itself is kind of non and void. Thematically, I think the way that obviously Vision's very strong and does aid, that does make sense. So just recalling those 4 key bits, we have additional forms. So of course we talked about the mass form. The Alliance is a new keyword that appears on some player cards in this pack. And when a player declares their intention to play an Alliance card, any player may help pay the cost of that card. Piercing, an attack with a piercing keyword, they discard any tough status cards from the target of the attack before dealing damage. And finally, Stalwart, a character with the Stalwart keyword cannot be stunned or confused. So Vision, as mentioned, he has been built by Ultron to be the ultimate android, able to destroy or control the density of his body. Use his density manipulation ability to change into his intangible mass form and focus on thwarting whilst intangible. Vision, though, does take 2 less, or should be 2 fewer damage from attacks, as he can use phase disruption to discard an enemy attachment. When it's hunting on the offensive, change to his dense mass form. While dense, Vision gets +2 attacks I mentioned, and he can use a super dense strike to deal 5 damage with piercing. So the protection aspect, obviously, turn the villain's aggression against it. You can play Defiance to discard a face-down boost card from attacking enemy, and then you can trigger the response on Flow Like Water to damage the enemy. Loads more stuff, of course, and I look forward to bringing you more videos. This has been recorded in 4K. I hope you liked it. You can, of course, zoom in if you want to watch it again. And aside from that, if you wish to, you can, of course, look into various other things coming along, because there are videos coming along daily. There have been daily videos since last May. At time of recording, this is in mid-February. Well, again, this has been Marvel Champions, very popular. This will be going into some of those Facebook groups as well. Speak to you soon.